What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 9 to 5 Gamers, and today it's another top 10 list. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to have a lot of people come over the house, and so I like to play a lot of party games. They're not my preferred games, but whenever you have more than, 5, 6 people at the house, it becomes kind of a party game night. But these are games that have high player counts, really fun, fast to teach, and will definitely entertain people for hours. These are at least the top 10 favorites, and I'm not just considering myself, but I'm also considering my company that have played these games. So this won't be one of those, I really like this game, even though nobody at my house liked it. So I want to start the list off. There's going to be 10, but I do have some honorable mentions. The first of those honorable mentions is, oh my goodness, I almost dropped it, is a game called Tapple. It's a very simple game, very easy to find. I think at one point it went viral on TikTok, and they were selling these things for like $75. If you bought one for $75, I'm so sorry. They're only 15 bucks. But it's a really cool little device, and on the back of it, it's got a little compartment that has some cards in it, and then the cards will have two choices on the front, two choices on the back. You pick one, and it'll say like maybe fictional characters, and so then everybody has to, in a circle, name a fictional character that starts with one of these letters. So for example, if you're doing a fictional character, you might say R for Robin Hood, right? It's a fictional character. And then somebody might say Little Mermaid, I don't know. And you just keep naming fictional characters until all of the things are taken up, or until somebody can't think of one. There's a little timer in the center, and you press that down. It has a little timer button that you can, I'll play the sound for you. So, somebody might say Ant-Man, fictional character, right? Or man, I can't think of one right now. So I'm really bad at this game. So when you lose, the timer runs out, it dings. If it dings on your turn, you're out of the game, and then you just keep going. And then when you want to reset, you just press that little button. Pretty cool little device for 15 bucks. This is not bad. It gives you a lot of entertainment. So that's an honorable mention. Another honorable mention, Wavelength. Okay, now Wavelength is a really fun game. Basically, you have this device, and on that device has a little meter. There's like the middle, the far left, the far right, and you're gonna get two words. So let's say that the word was coffee, right? Let's see, hot or cold, or actually that would be the example. It's on the back. It says hot or cold, right? And you have to name something that's hot or cold. So you think of a thing like coffee, for example, and then so you say it, and you set up the little thing in the center to think about coffee, right? And it's like coffee is hot, obviously, but then there's going to be people who are like, no, but you can have cold coffee too. And so it's like, okay, so yeah, there's like iced coffees and there's frappuccinos. So maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's there, or maybe it's in the middle, and there's this little red device. It's really kind of difficult to explain like this. I know I'm going to have some footage to show you, but you just twist the dial, and you set it up in a way where it's like, hey, I'm going to try to show you where we think coffee is. How hot is it, or how cold is it, right? And so coffee would probably be hot, but it's not like all the way hot. That's like lava. It would probably be somewhere around here. So that's kind of the way the game works. Wavelength. This game is actually really, really fun. The conversations that happen afterwards are probably the funniest part, where you start debating with each other on whether something was really that hot, and then you score points based on where you put your answer at. If it's right on center with where the person had placed it originally, then all the other people, you all get like a certain amount of points. But if it's like off key by like a little bit, you'll get like less points. It's a really fun game, Wavelength. I like it. That is my honorable mention. And now let's get into the top 10. Now this one, I'm gonna start it off with a caveat. I will probably get some hate in the comment section because some people might say this is not a party game. I consider it to be. The reason that some people might not like it as a party game is because I think it has a lot of rules, and it has a kind of a detailed instruction, but I think you can really explain the game pretty quick, and that is Bristol. Bristol is got a couple of things going against it, but I personally really, really love this game, and then the group that I played with had a good time, even though we had like one or two people that during the rules, it was my first time teaching it. During the rules, they were like, okay, I'm out. I don't get this, and they ended up leaving, and it was unfortunate. They didn't leave the house, obviously. They just went and played a different game with somebody at another table. But Bristol plays with 9 people, which is what I really like about these games. Party games, they need to be fun. You need to be able to teach them, and they need to play with lots of people. This one plays with 9. You want to play it with the full 9 player count. You don't want to play it with less because it's not as fun. But in Bristol, everybody starts off as healthy, and it takes place in 1350 with the bubonic plague, and so then everybody gets 2 symptom cards that are like cough, or I've got sneezing or things like that. And so I was like, I just got a little bit of a cough, I'm okay. And so you roll dice and figure, and it's like a little racing game. You got 3 people and these 3 little colored carts, and you roll dice, and what you want to roll is apples in the color of your cart, because an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and those apples will propel your cart forward. Rats, however, will make you mingle your symptoms, and so what will happen is you'll take a symptom card, and you'll take everybody's cards in your cart, mix them together, and put an extra card in there and shuffle them, and then give everybody 2, and then take the other one and discard it. And what happens is that if you end up getting a higher ranked card, because I think like cough is like a 1 or something like that, and sneezing is a 2, fever is like a 3 or something, I forget. You get like, I think they're called buboes, which are like these boils. Those are like a 4. And so if you get a 4 card and a 3 card and go over 6, now you have the plague, and your job is to keep people from knowing you have the plague, and to just spread it by rolling rats and getting all the people in your cart sick. But if people suspect that you're sick, they'll kick you out of the cart and make you go into a different cart, and then people are like, I don't want that sick person in my cart. I know that now that I think about it in hindsight, with like the pandemic and everything, maybe this is not the best game to play with COVID and everything. I think we're a couple of years past that now. But after pandemic, I don't think it's the most popular game because of that. But I would say that if you're triggered by stuff like that, don't play this game. But yeah, the whole point of the game is to just try to get it to the end of the road. It's a racing game almost. Try to get to the end of the road without anybody in your cart being sick. If somebody's sick, you all lose. If your whole cart is healthy, then you win. And so your goal is to try to figure out who's sick, who's not. Because you know how people were when people are sick, man. I don't know why. And maybe it's just like a Florida thing, but it's just like when people are sick, people are like, oh, it's just allergies. And you're like, no, it's not. Put a mask on or something. Like, I don't want to get sick, right? And so some people have like that tendency. So like that's kind of the thing. It's like, no, I'm cool. I'm good. I just got a cough. I'm good. And you try to trick people into thinking you're not sick. So it's kind of interesting. Really fun game. I really like this one. This is my number 10 party game. My number 9 party game is a game that just recently came out, and the reason why it's not higher on my list, and I could see it going much higher, is because I just haven't had the chance to play it as much. I think I've played it maybe 2 or 3 times, and that is Ready, Set, Bet. This is a horse racing game, and it is super fun, man. In this game, you have this big panel that's spread out, and it has a whole bunch of spots where you can bet on different colored horses, and each horse has a number on it, and so you can bet on the horses, and there's one person who's going to have a horse pad that has a whole bunch of little horse tokens on it, and that person's job is to roll dice and move the horses, and that's all that they do throughout the whole game. And so that person needs to be really animated. If for some reason they're not, you could always just use the app. The app does a good job. It's got kind of that old-timey voice where it's like, and number 6 comes out the gate. Like, it kind of gives you that sense of you're at a horse race. And so it's really kind of cool, man. And so you just bet on horses, win money, and then potentially lose money because you placed a bet that made you end up having to pay money back instead of win money. If you have a really animated group, it's so much fun, man. Like, there were some people in the group that are just yelling and screaming, like, come on, Ken, Mama needs a new pair of shoes, right? Like, it was just really, really funny, and it's just such a good game, and there's a lot of variety to it with the cards that come out. Very fun game. I highly recommend anybody buying this, because if you have a really animated group, they will really love playing this game. But that is my number 9. That is Ready, Set, Bet. And now, my number 8. This is one of those games that you see like at Target, and I was like, there's no way that this game is that good. Some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so fun, you should play it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, because I'm like into these games. I'm not into a lot of the, like Walmart, Target games, even though Target is getting better at some of the games that they're putting out. But I saw this one, and I was like, I'm going to pick it up. And man, I was wrong about this game. I did not think this game was going to be that fun, but it is amazing, and it is called Telestrations. Listen, This game's incredible, man. So basically the concept of the game, it's like telephone where you whisper something in somebody's ear and then they whisper it to the next person down the line. And then when it gets to the end, it's something completely different than when it started off. It's that, but with drawing. And I'm pretty sure by this time, almost everybody's probably played Telestrations, but I want to recommend getting this 12-player party pack. I got this on Amazon for like 40 bucks. I'm not sure if that was a good price or not, but I was willing to pay it. And the reason I recommend getting the 12-player party pack is because it comes with 12 notepads, and each of those notepads has 12 pages. The Target version has 6 pads, but all the pads have 6 pages, so you couldn't get 2 of the Target ones to do 12 players because they would only go halfway around the circle. But it's so funny, man, and a lot of people go, yeah, but I'm not really into drawing games. That's perfect. Actually, I recommend this for groups where you don't have good artists. If everybody's amazing at art, then the guessing is very easy because it's very clear what the image is. But as long as there's a couple of people in there that have no idea what they're doing and they're terrible at art and they're terrible at drawing and you can't tell what their picture is, it really changes it. And that's the fun of it, because at the end, everybody flips through their book and says, here was my original word, here's the picture, here's the guess, and everybody takes turns. One person will look at your keyword, then they'll draw a picture of it. Then the next person will see the picture and guess what it is. Then the next person will look at their guess and draw a picture of it, so it changes. I think one time we had the moon. It started off with like the moon and then ended up as macaroni and cheese. And the reason why was because at some point some person drew a moon. They said, I don't know if my moon is good. So I drew a little cheese on the side, like the moon is made out of cheese. And then it looked like a bowl with a cheese on the side. And so somebody said, oh, macaroni. And then somebody put macaroni and cheese. And it was like, how did it even get there? It's so weird. And it's so funny to have those conversations of how did we get here. This is an incredible game. I highly recommend the 12-player party pack so you can play with 12 people if you have parties that big. Mine usually end up that big. Like my parties, I don't know why I invite like 6 people over. And then by the time I look, 18 people are coming to the house. And I'm like, that's kind of not good. So Telestrations, my number 8. My number 7, new game to the list. I just picked this up not too long ago, but I've already played it like 7 or 8 times since then, and that is Green Team Wins. I found this at a local Books A Million because that's where I don't know why, that's where I find all my games that I've been looking for. Like Arc Nova, I found at Books A Million because like no other game store had it at the time. So Green Team Wins. I found this at Books A Million, and it is such a good game, man. So it has basically, the way that it works is that everybody starts off on the orange team, the losing team, because only the green team wins. And there's a deck of like 15 cards, and there are 3 types of cards in there. There's fill in the blanks, where it'll say something, like for example, it'll say Michael blank, right? So then everybody's like, oh, obviously it's Michael Jordan. And then other people are like, obviously it's Michael Jackson, but you're not allowed to say anything. You just write it down on the page on your little board. You flip your board over and then count the majority, who answered the majority of answers. And so whoever was in that majority, they flip their little orange tag to the green team, and now they're winning. Every time you go onto the green team, you get a point. And when you're on the green team and you answer correctly again, you get 2 points instead because you were already on the green team. And whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. But it's really cool because you got to answer like everybody else. It makes you think differently. Like most games are like, hey, you have to think of something different. This game, it's like, no, think like everybody else. Because, for me, like Neapolitan ice cream, which I didn't know it was called that until somebody, I thought it was Napoleon ice cream. It's Neapolitan. But it's, how it's like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and it's like, which one is your favorite? I'm the strawberry guy. I hate that, but that's just me. I'm always the odd man out on stuff. I like stuff that nobody else likes, and so then I have to think, I'm like, man, this or that, and I'm like, I really like this, but I know everybody's gonna like that, so I'm gonna choose this option because I know that's what everybody's gonna answer. And I flip my thing over, sure enough, everybody answered that, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then afterwards, I'll ridicule everybody for liking that other thing. So it's really cool, man. Green Team Wins is a fun game. As a matter of fact, that was an explanation of how to play the game. It's so quick to learn and so easy, and it plays with up to 12 people. What an incredible game. A lot of players. This one's great. Green Team Wins. Definitely want to get that one. So that was my number 7. Now my number 6. I love trick-taking games. The Crew is amazing. Cat in the Box is another trick-taking game. And there's a lot of great trick-taking games, including Spades, Fox in the Forest, Arboretum, I think, is trick-taking, right? No, it's not. I know Jekyll and Hyde is one, but that's only for 2 players. But a lot of these great trick-taking games only play with like maybe 4 or 5 players. But there's one that I really like called Skull King. Sorry, like slammed it on the table for no reason. Skull King plays with 8 people. It's a pirate trick-taking game, and it just plays like every other trick-taking game. The first person to play a card determines what suit color it is, and then everybody has to play in suit, and if they can't play in suit, they can play any card, which lets you play the trump suit, which is the black suit, and that one basically wins at everything. Or they have some other trump cards, like the pirate, which beats everything. But then there's the mermaid, the Skull King, which beats pirates, and then you've got the mermaid, which beats the Skull King, but the pirate beats the mermaid, and it's got this little rock paper scissor effect, and you get bonus points for winning with those cards and stuff. So really, really fun game. I think one of the most fun parts is just the beginning. You have to bet. This is probably the coolest part, is you have to bet how many you're gonna get. So how many tricks are you going to win in this game? You have to bet, and when you bet, you have to bang on the table. I'm not going to do it because of the mic, but you have to go yo, ho, ho, and bang on the table, and then put out how many you're going to win. So if I put out one finger, I'm betting that I'm going to win 1, or I'm going to win 3, and then you write down everybody's bets. They have some cards that let you show how many bets you chose, but I don't like those. They're added mess, and it's just too much to work with. So you count the bets, write them down, and then you play out the match, and then however many cards, however many tricks you win counts to the rounds. There's 10 rounds, and you start off with like 1 card in your hand, and you go to round 2, 2 cards, round 3, 3 cards, to round 10 where you have 10 cards in your hand, and then you can win up to 10 tricks, and if you win them all, you get like 20 per trick. You could also get points for not winning. So like if you're really bad at games like this and you just want to lose the whole time because you're just not good, you could also do that and bet 0, and then you get 10 points for every trick you don't win. So at the end of the game, you could end up getting 100, and it's a nice little swing to help you get back into the lead. Skull King, this is definitely one of my favorite trick-taking games. I still love playing it at parties, even though I'm cooling on it a little bit, but it's still in my top 10 of party games. You need to buy this. It's a really good game. I think you can get this at Target now as well. Super cool. And it's got a cool recipe for a pie that you can bake. Yeah, it's interesting. That is my number 6, Skull King. Next one. This is a game that I saw at Target as well. Target has a lot of really good party games now, so if you're looking for good party games, Target, you just can't go wrong, because I'm pretty sure that almost all the games that are on my top you can get at Target at this point. Well, not all of them, but some of them. But the next one that I really love is Poetry for Neanderthals. I totally forgot to grab the thing that's over here. There it is. I saw this game on a video that Dice Tower posted. They did like a recap video of one of their conventions, and I saw a couple that was playing it with a group, and then there's a guy who's reading like a little card, and then the lady like bops him in the head with his hammer, and I said, I need to grab that game because that looks incredible. You can just smack people. I was like, what game is that? So I looked it up, and I found out it was Poetry for Neanderthals. And then I was like, wow, I really like this game because this is a word-based game, so it's one of those, like, you say a word and try to guess what it is. But the cool thing about it is that in Poetry for Neanderthals, you are a Neanderthal, you're a caveman, and your job is to say a word. So, for example, if the word is campfire, you can say, okay, hot thing in ground, right? You can only say words with 1 syllable. If you go above 2 syllables or above 1 syllable and you do a 2-syllable word, 3, like somebody, you know, that's multiple syllables, you get bopped in the head with the hammer of accountability, and then you just have to throw that one out, or that you lose points for those that you mess up on. But campfire, hot place where you roast soft white cube, right? That's what it says on the back here. And I was like, oh, that's a campfire, marshmallows, right? Like people will start guessing on your team. Really fun game, and it's really funny to hear people just talking like Neanderthal. But yeah, it plays with 2+ players, meaning you can play with as many people as you possibly want. You know, you just ramp it up. You just gotta just keep it even, so that there's an even amount is usually pretty good. Really fun game. It came with that little inflatable in the box. It's really cool. I'm pretty sure they have a not safe for work edition if you're interested in that. I'm not, but if you are, no judgment. But that one's, you can already kind of guess as to some of the stuff that's inappropriate about that one. Poetry for Neanderthals, that is in my top 10. My next one That was my number 5. My number 4. I'm just gonna say this, and I want to apologize to whoever made this game, because I know this is gonna sound bad, but I'll just explain. My number 4 is Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. This is not a good game. I hate games like this. And the reason I hate games like this is because this game cost me $10. I got up there on the shelf Mosaic. That's a $150 game. Will I ever play that game? No, because this game stinking exists. It was $10, yet provides hours of countless fun. Because all you do, and some people may not like it, but I love it with my group loves this game. They're always asking to play it. And the reason why is because it's a very simple game. You have a bunch of cards. It's a little deck of cards that everybody has their own little deck. And you keep your cards face down. You flip a card over, and it has a picture of either a taco, cat, goat, cheese, or a pizza. And then what you do is you say the word taco and then flip your card over. If it's a taco, you have to put all of your hands on top of the card. Last person to put their hand has to take the card. But if the card doesn't match, then it goes to the next person, and they say cat, and then they throw down a card. If it's a cat, then we all have to throw our hands on it. But if it's another picture, then we just keep moving around the circle. So it'll be like taco, cat, goat, cheese, and then everybody has to throw their hands in. It is so much fun. It is a very funny game. And then there's some surprise cards in there. There's the narwhal, the gorilla, and the groundhog. Groundhog, you go like this, hand in the middle. Gorilla, you beat your chest, hand in the middle. And then the narwhal, you clap your hands above your head and then put your hand in the middle, which for some reason my group translates to clapping and then throwing your whole body on top of the table. Like we go all out when we play this game, and it is so much fun. And it's so fun too when somebody's obviously doesn't have fast reflexes, and they just honestly just lose the game so bad, because it doesn't stop somebody from winning, it just makes them have a really poor time, which is unfortunate for some. So if you have people who have very slow reflexes and they may not like it, they might say it's stupid, but even then, like, we played a couple of times with people who had slow reflexes. They're like, I hate this game sucks, and then they're like, all right, run it back, and it's just really fun because it's just funny. Side note, disclaimer, please cut your nails before playing this. If you got to bring some nail clippers out and have people cut their nails, do it. If you got fake nails on, just know what you're getting into. Take off your rings so that you're not getting hit with a ring on your knuckles. It hurts, so to have people remove their rings. And then just have a good time. Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, that's my number 4. I don't even know why. I don't like the game. I don't like little $10 games that are fantastic, and that just happens to be one of them. So good job making that game. That game is really fun, even though I really can't stand it. But it's such a good game, man. My people love it. Number 3. This is another game from Target that you can grab. Chameleon. This game is a social deduction game where you have a little grid with a whole bunch of words on it in a certain category. Let's say that it's food, and let's say you roll 2 dice, and those 2 dice are going to give you a code, which you will look up on your little code sheet that everybody's going to get. Everybody in the table will have a little code sheet. They'll look at the 2 dice. They'll look for the code that match up with the 2 dice and then say, okay, it's A4. So then they look at the card in the center, which is full of foods, and then they look for A4, which is sausage. Awesome, sausage. Everybody has to think of a word that has to do with sausage. Now there's one person in the group, though, the chameleon. Their card just says the chameleon on it. They don't have codes. They don't have anything to tell them what the secret word is. They have to try to figure it out before it's their turn, and they have to say a word that's associated with one of these words that doesn't match up with anything. So they don't even know what the word is. And so you go around the circle, and some person might be like, ground. Oh, okay, yeah, like ground meat. That's what sausage is, a bunch of ground meat inside of a tube. Okay. Next person goes, delicious. And everybody just looks at that person like, delicious? And they're like, yeah, delicious. That's my word. I'm like, okay. And then they move on to the next person. And this person, all the while, the chameleon is hearing these clues going, ground, delicious. Ground and delicious. What word is this? And then somebody says, cylinder. Well, okay, cylinder. They're like, ground cylinder. And then the next person says, brown. And then he's like, a brown cylinder that's full of ground meat sausage. Then the chameleon figures out what the word is, and then they go, spicy. And then you're like, spicy? That's a good word. And then everybody at the end has to look around and go, okay, now that everybody said their word, who sounded like they didn't know what they were talking about. And then you look at the second person who said delicious. Even though they're not the chameleon, it was a bad clue. And so the chameleon is just like, you said delicious. Vote that person out. And so we all vote for who we think the chameleon is. Then we point at them. 1, 2, 3, point. Then that person flips over their thing. And if they're the chameleon, they get caught. They're out of the game. But if they win, if they're not the chameleon, then the chameleon wins and he gets away. I think there's also, you have to be very careful because there's another rule. I don't think we always play with it. Where it says that if the chameleon knows what the word is, they can get away with it. So it's like, I got caught, but I know the word is sausage, then they win. I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like it makes the game a little weird because it's just kind of like, oh, I already know what the word is. It's very easy to figure out once you've had like 6 or 7 clues. But yeah, it's just a really fun game, man. I think this is the game that I have played the most out of all the games. It even has a Dice Tower Seal of Excellence on it. It's really good. You really got to pick this game up. Super easy to play. Plays with 3 to 8 players. Just play it with 8, 6 to 8 maybe. I wouldn't play it with 3. It's not as fun. But that is my number 3, Chameleon. My number 4, or my number 2, okay? This is a game, and I'm actually going to bring out 2 games because I think that they're both good. This is One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which is supposed to be Sideways, and Crossfire. One Night Ultimate Werewolf and Crossfire are social deduction games. Basically, everybody gets like a little card, or in Werewolf you get these little wooden or like cardboard tokens that are like rectangles. And you have a role to play, right? And so what happens is everybody has to, in One Night Ultimate Werewolf, I'll put Crossfire down for a second to explain that one. In One Night Ultimate Werewolf, you have a night phase, day phase. During the night, everybody closes their eyes, and everybody will wake up one at a time and do whatever their power lets them do. They may be allowed to look at somebody else's character. They may be able to mix 2 pieces, switch them from players. And it's just like a really, really fun game, man. Like if you've never played One Night Ultimate Werewolf, you need to absolutely play that. If you don't like social deduction games, then obviously it's not for you. But I don't know, man. I have never had a time where One Night Ultimate Werewolf just wasn't a good time, other than when it gets heated and people start arguing, because that's what social deduction games pretty much tend to do. People will argue, people get upset. It just depends on your friend group. If you got a good friend group where there nobody gets mad at each other, then that's fine. My friend group, we love to yell at each other. So One Night Ultimate Werewolf, a lot of debates, a lot of fun, a lot of arguing. One that's also kind of like it is Crossfire, and the goal of the game is in One Night is to catch the werewolf. In Crossfire, it's to catch the assassin, and so there's like 2 or 3 people that might be assassins, and you have to try to find them. And so then at the end of the round, everybody's saying what they are. Some people are like, I'd rather not say what I am. I'm just going to leave it like that, because if I get shot, maybe something good happens, maybe something bad happens. You don't really know. And then at the end, everybody is going to put their guns up and point at somebody. It kind of reminds me of that Office scene where it's like, I'm not going down like this. And so you point at everybody with your guns, and then whenever they say, all right, if you're an unarmed character, put your guns down. So then a couple of people put their guns down. Then there will be people with their guns still up, and they're like, if you are a, what are they called? An agent, go ahead and kill the person that you shot. And then those people will flip their cards over. And if the agents happen to kill the assassins, then you guys win. But the assassins, if they shoot the VIP, then they win the game. And so, like, if the VIP gets shot by an assassin and that assassin wasn't shot by an agent, then the assassins will win. It's kind of like Werewolf, just a different theme, just in case you don't like the One Night Ultimate Werewolf theme. Crossfire is another good one, and those are my number 2. There is one more number 2 honorable mention that but I have not played it yet, and I just can't wait to play it, and that is this behemoth of a game, Blood on the Clock Tower. Just pick this up. It's a very expensive game, but it's a social deduction game. If you want to look up, there's a lot of playthroughs of it, and you can see how the game plays. Man, this game looks so much fun. It's like Werewolf, but times infinity. Like, there's scenarios and stories, and you have like a DM, like a storyteller who is actually going through and telling the story of what's happening, and they run the whole game, manipulate people. And so I'm going to be running the story as the storyteller, and then you can feed people false information to make the game go on. So it's so fun, man, and it looks so cool. I just can't wait to get it out onto the table soon, but I got to learn how to play it first and get through it. I literally just bought this. It's still brand new, so that's Blood on the Clock Tower, honorable mention, but I'm assuming this may be my number 1 at some point for party games. And last but not least, the ultimate party game, Spiel des Jahres winner for 2019 for a reason, because this game is just that good and it is literally falling out. Just One is an easy game. Literally, you take, you get everybody around the table. I think this is the lowest player count that I have, because I think Blood on the Clock Tower plays with like 20. One Night Ultimate Werewolf and Crossfire are like 10 each or 12. There's so many different roles. All these games playing with like 8 to 10. This one only plays with 7. I think you can like do something where 2 people will share a thing, but that's always never really that fun to play with more. But what you do is you get a card, and that card, you put it out, and it says chocolate, for example, on the card. Or it has like 5 words with a number next to it. So the person that's guessing will put the card on their little tile thing, and then they'll say, I picked number 2, and the word is chocolate, right, for example. Then everybody has to write a word that has to do with chocolate on their boards. Then, whenever the time comes that everybody's written their word, the guesser closes their eyes, everybody flips around their things and shows each other their little tile things, and then any words that were repeated are erased, and then those are no longer viable clues. So for example, if anybody said cocoa as their word, and there were like 4 people with the word cocoa, you would lose all 4 of those clues, and then there would only be 2 clues left over. And then the guesser gets 2 clues, and then it's like bar and brown. A brown bar. Brown bar. Chocolate, right? Like they might guess chocolate, or they might think something else, right? And so you never know, man. You never know what would come through with the game, just because of all of that possibility of only having one clue. That happened one time where we had to guess the Nintendo was the clue, but everybody wrote Mario, and so everybody eliminated each other, and the last clue that was left over was company. And they were like, Google? Like, there's a million companies. How are they supposed to guess Nintendo? Every time you score one, you keep the card. If you don't score the card, you throw it back into the box. And there's a little score sheet that tells you how well you did. It's a cooperative game, and it's really, really fun. It is honestly so easy to teach. It doesn't matter who likes to play games or not, they can play this, because it's that easy to learn and that quick to set up, that fast to play. I think the game takes maybe 20 minutes to play a round of it. You can play a bunch of rounds of this and just keep going and run it back a bunch of times. But yeah, this is a really, really fun game. I recommend everybody getting Just One, because it's good. It is really, really good. And that's it for my top 10 party games. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Super excited for that, and I can't wait to see to get to the 1,000 subs, man. So continue to share my videos and share them with people that you think. And don't forget, feel free to roast my top 10, man. If you think there's some games that don't belong there, i.e. Bristol, which I'm assuming a lot of people won't think is a very good party game, go ahead and put it in the comments section and let me know what you guys think. Anyways, see you guys later. Take care.